Laser sights are an essential firearms training tool, clearly correcting and improving the two most important shooting fundamentals, aiming and trigger control. Crimson Trace, making laser sights standard equipment. Learn more at crimsontrace.com.
The number one national voice in defense of your Second Amendment rights. Gun Talk, available on iTunes and on the free Gun Dealio smartphone app for Android and iPhone. To be on the air with Tom, call us now, 866-825-5486 or 1-TOM-TALK-GUN. Now, here's Tom.
All right, welcome back to Gun Talk. Tom Gresham here. Many of us, 20, 30 million, a lot of us have decided to get our concealed carry permits, or if you live in a state where it's not required to carry guns concealed, for our own personal protection. Men, women, all ages, legal ages, all walks of life, who decided we will take our safety seriously. We're going to be responsible for our own safety. As I say, we're not going to outsource our safety. We had a call. By the way, if you'd like to join us, it's 866-TALK-GUN, because we may say something here you're thinking, that guy's nuts. I need to correct that. Okay, fine. I'll give you the floor. 866-TALK-GUN is the number. We had a caller last hour who said his girlfriend would go passive-aggressive on him whenever they went in social situations. She would say things like, well, basically he's got almost a mental problem. He's so afraid, he's so paranoid he carries a gun. And she would make sure that in social situations she told people who didn't know that he was a concealed carry person, that he was carrying a gun. Well, I had some thoughts for that, and I had some advice. Well, Pat's called in from Katy, Texas on line 3. Pat, I guess, thinks that I didn't handle that well. Pat, welcome to the show. What's your take on that?
Yeah, thank you, Tom. That was a correct advice, and being a little blunt, maybe that was okay, too. Over the years, I've asked a number of – I'm single, have been for a long time. Mm-hmm. I've asked a number of people to go to the range with me, a lot of women, and I can't think of a time I was turned down because they didn't like guns. And I take them. We have a good time. I make sure we have a good time. They do well. Make sure we have a picture of them with their targets. And as far as asking new people to go to a range and for a single guy and dating, I think that's perfect. Mm-hmm. I've had great luck with it.
Oh, I agree with you on all points. Let me ask you this then. With your experience in this woman would make it a point wherever they went to tell people that he was carrying. When obviously she knew that he didn't want her to say that. And I called that passive-aggressive. I called it mean, and my advice was to dump this woman immediately because nothing good is going to come from that. What would you do if you're with somebody who did that to you, who made it a point to tell everybody everywhere you went, oh, yeah, by the way, he's carrying a gun because he's got a mental problem?
Yeah, well, that wouldn't work. That wouldn't work. I hope I'd be dumping her immediately. And hopefully I'd see that coming. But, yeah, your advice was spot on. And, again, being a little blunt, it's a girl-boy thing. We don't want to hear this, but at the same time it needs to be blunt because I didn't get the whole conversation with him. I got just the gist of it at the end. But, yeah, she's dangerous. She is dangerous.
Well, that was the point. I said, Jim pointed out, he says, look, she's dangerous because – and people are going to say, well, what do you mean? And you're an NRA instructor. All right, okay, you get this. If you tell everybody around that you're carrying a gun, if something happens where you may have the option of, look, this thing's going on, I'm not going to get involved, we're going to, whatever it was, somebody's getting robbed, somebody's yelling at somebody. But somebody else says, hey, Pat, do something about this. You've got the gun. Well, all of a sudden the dynamics of the situation just changed, and the option of letting it diffuse becomes minimized. It's a dangerous thing to do, but more than that, it's a mean, nasty power play that somebody's basically putting you down in public And I don't know if she thinks she's going to change him and get him to not carry or what was going on. But, man, this is a witch. This is somebody you need to get as far away from as possible. And Pat, to your point, I agree. I think if you invite people to the range and you treat them to a fun, safe experience, almost everybody comes away pretty happy. Isn't that your experience? Exactly.
And I make sure that we have a fun, safe experience, and they've got a nice target, and take lots of pictures from every angle, and they share that with their friends. And exactly.
That's an interesting point. Post the pictures. Make sure that they have a target. I do this. Make sure they have a target where they've shot it, and then maybe sign it or have them sign it and date it and take a picture of it. And they can take their paper target home with them. It's like a cool souvenir. I would love to get your take on this. The thing I think that is the biggest item, the biggest hurdle we have when we're inviting somebody to the range is they want to know, is it going to be safe? What do you think?
Yes, one of the first things. And I assure them we talk about it quite a bit before we go. We talk the safety rules. Ruger has got a nice series of pistol shooting tips for beginners so they know what to expect. We go to an outdoor range, so we have a ceasefire every 30 minutes, so it's nice and quiet. We can talk about it and make sure that they're very calm and confident how we're going to do everything before we get there.
I love it. That's a perfect way. Exactly. Well, Pat, look, thank you for your call. I appreciate that. And, yeah, I was probably blunt with the caller. Partly it's because I was so shocked that, number one, somebody would be that, I just have to say, mean to more than once, not just once, but more than that, to, as he said, out him as a concealed carry person to her friends or social acquaintances. In other words, it was a put down. It was a mean put down. It was a passive aggressive thing. But the other thing, and maybe the reason I reacted quickly as I did, is I was actually surprised that he was calling with that. I'm surprised that anyone would date that person more than once. I mean, after that first happened, it's kind of like I would be deleting your phone number in all contacts I have for you. You simply wouldn't exist for me anymore because you're a dangerous person and you're mean, and you also are showing contempt for my beliefs and for what I am and for what I do and for my decision to take care of myself and be safe. You're showing utter contempt as well as disregard for it. And for that reason, I would be gone. I would love to get others' take on this. I mean, okay, I get it. I'm reacting strongly to this. It ticks me off. Okay, it just does. Somebody would be that way. Have you in your life ever run into somebody who just basically wants to denigrate you, make fun of you, to show contempt for your gun ownership, for your decision to be safe, to take responsibility for your own safety, maybe even a family member? If so, how did you handle that? How do you handle that? 866-TALK-GUN.
This is Jeff with Black Hills Ammunition. Our new rifle ammunition line, featuring Hornady's extreme low-drag bullet design, is a big step forward in long-distance performance. When you want the ability to shoot way out there with accuracy, flat trajectory, and minimal wind effect, our ELD ammunition is the right choice. The high ballistic coefficients and Black Hills Ammunition carry manufacture gives you the advantage. Black Hills Ammunition, the power of performance.
Hi, this is Tom Gresham from Gun Talk. America is losing critical wildlife habitat at a rate of 1 football field every hour. It's happening on the Louisiana coast, but it's critical to all sportsmen and conservationists. These precious wetlands provide winter habitat for more than 10 million ducks and geese annually, waterfowl that migrate north through dozens of states. Don't shrug it off. Get involved. You can help. Visit vanishingparadise.org.
For more than 70 years, Timney Triggers has been enhancing the shooter's experience. Whether it's a local competition, a day at the range, or even the hunt of a lifetime. Setting the standard in aftermarket triggers, Timney is now producing more than 170 models of triggers for bolt-action rifles, shotguns, AR rifles, and semi-automatic rifles. Proudly made in the USA since 1946. Find your new trigger at timneytriggers.com.
Founded with the singular purpose of building fine sporting firearms, Kimber creates a handgun for every person and a rifle for every adventure. While embracing modern manufacturing techniques, every Kimber depends on practiced hands for assembly, fit, and finish. There's no compromise in features, materials, or performance. Synonymous with quality, precision, and excellence, and made in America. Kimber is what all guns should be. Visit KimberAmerica.com. That's KimberAmerica.com.
Hey, what's this home security system all about? What are those security cameras all about? Well, according to the folks at Blink, and I agree, it's about getting a warning before something bad happens, not after. Think about that, because that's really what we're all about, right? So, I mean, here's a scenario. There's a guy gets a warning on his phone because there's somebody sneaking around his house and his Blink cameras are firing up and they're sending these warnings to his phone, and he checks and he can actually see somebody walking around, creeping, peeking in the windows. Maybe his wife's at home, maybe his daughter's at home. He can call and say, hey, this is what's going on. He can call the police. He can do something about it. You don't have to be there to be plugged in to know what's going on. I love the Blink cameras simply because they're easy. They're just easy for me to use. I mean, I got 3 of them, and they're size of I always say a pack of cards, something like that. But whatever, that they're small, and they run. Seems like I don't know, a year, 2 years. I don't know yet because I've not run out of battery, but they run a long time. Easy to set up. It took me about 5 minutes. And if I can do it, anybody can do it. Trust me on that. They're pretty simple devices. They work really cool, and they have motion detection. They'll let you know when somebody's sneaking around your house or somebody's in your house or that type of thing. There's no subscriptions either. There's no service fees. I like that part as well. If you'd like to take advantage of it, they have a pretty cool deal for you because you are a Gun Talk listener. You get 3 of these Blink cameras for less than the other guys charge, and you get an extra 15% off for using the Gun Talk link, if you will, on this. Go to blinkprotect.com/guntalk. That's blinkprotect.com/guntalk. People forget to protect. blinkprotect.com/guntalk. Get you in there. Talking about, have you run into, and I'm sure it happens in a lot of families, somebody in your family who just doesn't like the fact that you like guns, doesn't like the fact that you have guns for self-protection. It makes for kind of a tense Thanksgiving dinner sometimes. And for some reason, it seems, I would love to get your take on this. For some reason, it seems that some of these folks really do feel, empowered, almost superior. And they address you in a condescending tone. And it's like, oh, yeah, well, you and your gun thing. Oh, yeah, sure, you carry a gun. Are you so afraid of the world that you carry a gun? Why in the world? And then you get this thing, which is always the interesting one. Well, I've never felt the need for a gun, as if that's justification for anything other than the fact that that's what you feel. How you feel has nothing to do with my perception of the reality of the world. It's the I've never felt the need. And then there's this other thing that I run into occasionally, and it's really interesting. You'll hear people say, well, I can't imagine ever needing a gun, or I can't imagine ever shooting someone. And I just say, you need a better imagination. Because a lot of folks don't expose themselves to the news, don't take advantage of the information that's available of how bad guys are. And a lot of my police friends will say that. They say, look, the average person has no idea. Has no idea. Anytime you hear somebody say, well, I'll just give them what they want, or I can talk to them and I can be reasonable with them, you're going, you are crazy. Because they're crazy. Some of them are. Some of them are truly mentally ill. Walk right up to you and hit you with a baseball bat. Boom. Conversation's over. Or jump out of a car and come screaming at you with a crowbar. Well, I never thought of that. Well, you need to think of that. When you say, I can never imagine, I couldn't imagine. Well, you need a better imagination. Because if you can't imagine it, you can't protect yourself. And not just yourself. If you can't imagine it, you cannot protect your family members. For some reason, and I think it is a defensive mechanism, for some reason, I think a lot of people don't want to think about bad things. They don't want to think about the fact that bad things can happen, because that makes them feel nervous or anxious or scared, and they don't want that. So they can feel safe. You hear people all the time saying, I have a right to feel safe. No, you don't. That's stupid. You don't have a right to feel anything. You don't even have a right to be safe. You have the ability to protect yourself and the opportunity to provide for your own safety, but that's not a right. Give me a break. But the idea that they say, I want to feel safe, which is what motivates them to not think about bad guys, not think about the fact that you can have a house fire, so they won't even have a fire extinguisher in their house. Because if they did, that would be admitting the possibility that you could have a fire. It's crazy. It's just crazy. Yeah, Michelle says, your lack of imagination may be fatal. Yeah. If you haven't thought about it, you will have no plan. If you haven't thought about it, you will have no plan. Just my makeup, I don't know. I guess a lot of the things I've done in my life, boating, scuba diving, flying, a lot of those kinds of activities, do a lot of stuff all around the world. We always think about, okay, if this happens, then I will do that. If somebody gets hurt this way, we'll do this. If this boat turns over, we will do that. If this airplane has to go down over there, then we have the materials that we need to take care of that, to survive. If I've pulled people out of burning boats, see a boat on a lake and go roaring over there in another boat, and we yanked them out of the boat and put it in our boat. Well, why? Because I thought about it before. What's going to happen if? You think about that stuff. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. I don't know. But it's just a thing. Line 4, Jeff's with us out of Charleston, South Carolina. Jeff, how do you deal with this? What's your thinking on this? Hey, Jeff, you there? He put his phone down. Okay, we'll go back to Jeff in just a minute. I don't know. Let me know when we get Jeff back, okay? I'm talking about things like having a first aid kit and getting the training. It's one thing to buy it. It's another thing to say, I'm going to get training, CPR training, first aid training. The Red Cross has classes. It'd be cool to have the whole family go take a class like that. But when it comes to the gun thing, I'm getting back to that. I'll admit, I am stewing on this. The idea that somebody you're dating, somebody you care about, someone who supposedly cares about you, would willingly, eagerly subject you to ridicule. Because that's really what's going on. Well, John over here, my date, he carries a gun because he's pretty much insecure. Really? That's the deal? Subjecting somebody to ridicule, just being mean. I don't know. It's just a thing. If you have any thoughts on that, give me a holler, 866-TALK-GUN. Hey, Steve's in Shreveport on line 1. Wanted to talk about skeet. What are you doing here, Steve?
Yes, sir. Well, I had the opportunity a couple of weeks ago to shoot a box of shells, 12 gauge out of a pump shotgun, and I got better as I got toward the end of the box of shells, and it seemed like it might be something fun to pursue, but I've never done it before. So I'm calling to ask you if I wanted to get into it for not maximum dollars, what kind of shotgun should I look for?
Well, what kind of shotgun do you have?
I don't have one. This was somebody else's gun, so I'm blank slate.
Sure. Okay. First of all, let's define some terms. Skeet is a particular specific game. It's not clay target shooting. Clay target shooting is an overall category. So there's skeet, there's trap, and there's sporting clays. 3 very different games. All of them are fun. You can shoot any of them with any shotgun that is a repeater. People will look at you a little funny if you shoot it with a pump. I won't, because I'll think, let's go, because pumps are fun and they're inexpensive. For $400 or so, you can get you a nice pump shotgun that'll work for the next 100 years. Yeah. And yeah, there are some people in sporting clays who will turn up their nose at you and yada, yada, yada. But you know what? When that stops as soon as you start beating them. And wing shooting, shooting clay targets is so much fun. You're hitting a moving target with a moving charge of shot and trying to get them to intersect at some particular point in space out there. And when it happens, it's like magic. You go, and the target breaks, and you go, whoa, that was fun. But to your point, yeah, you get better quickly at it. I mean, the more you do it. Here's my thought for you. Do you live in Shreveport?
I do.
There's more than one gun club around. Call around, find a place that offers skeet, trap, or sporting clays. And I would call and say, look, could I get a lesson with somebody? And I don't even have a shotgun. And get an hour or two with an instructor, shooting instructor. He or she will bring a shotgun. And you will learn so much. And that will be like the best investment you will ever make. And then you'll go, oh, okay, I get that. And yeah, this is what I want. And you can tell that person, I got this much to spend. What do you think? And you'll be well on your way. But spending some money on a lesson or two will really help get you started. And it's a great lifetime sport. I am partial, but I do love wing shooting. If I had to pick one and let go of everything else, I think it'd be clay target shooting. I just love it that much. Why is that? Because it's hard and because I can see the improvement. Well, I do have a lot of room for improvement. There is always that.
Sign up for our Gun Talk newsletter and join the Truth Squad at www.guntalk.com. Now, back to Gun Talk with Washington Times opinion page regular contributor Tom Gresham.
Hi, back with you, Tom Gresham, 866-TALK-GUN, or just call me at Tom Talk Gun. We have a lot of things going on, a lot of different subjects running around. If there's something on your mind, you want to weigh in on something, or let me know, I don't quite agree with you there, Tom. That's okay. 866-TALK-GUN. Ben is on 3 out of Bossier City, Louisiana. Ben, you're on Gun Talk. What's up?
Hello, Tom. Hey, I'm a retired gunnery sergeant in the United States Marine Corps. And
okay.
I listened to your comments about regret and recrimination and so forth and so on about shooting another person. Listen, I've done that lots of times, and it was always him or me. And that is why I carry. I carry for my family, I carry for my friends, and I carry for lots of other people. And I have absolutely no compunction about wasting somebody that is going to do harm to other people.
Okay. I'm curious, though, when you say you've listened to my thoughts of recrimination or regrets, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Can you help me out?
Well, you, as I heard it, you spoke about the fact that, like, this is one of the last things you ever want to do in your life.
Okay.
And it's not. and it's not.
It's not? Okay.
No, it's not. Not if you're keeping someone else from harm, someone else from death.
Well, I look, that's two different things. I get all that. But I'm saying you don't go out every day thinking, I sure hope I get to shoot somebody today.
Well, no, but I'm certainly prepared for that.
Well, me too. But my point is, I guess, this is, when I say that, what I'm saying to people is, not in a military situation, in a civilian, a citizen situation, you shoot somebody and it's going to be a rough time for you. But, and this is the but, if it is necessary, do what you got to do, and we'll talk about problem number 2 later. You got to deal with the immediate threat that's going on. But I'm saying it's not going to be good for you in any form or fashion. And a lot of things can happen as a result of it if you do everything correctly. I mean, history shows us that, there's a real good chance you're going to lose your job. You can lose your marriage. You can lose a lot of stuff. May not happen to you, but it's happened enough times to where I just want people to think about, don't be quick. If you can find an alternative, if you can leave the area, anything you can do to not have to shoot somebody is probably worthwhile up to a certain point. Obviously, you don't suffer a physical attack, but if you can somehow not have to shoot somebody, that's generally accepted as a good thing. Do you disagree with me on that?
Something that I look forward to, but I'm prepared to do it. And if you have...
Yeah, I get that. No, let him back up. Put him back up. Are you there?
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. His phone's dropping out on me, something.
Well, I'm
Ben, you
trying.
there?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm here. Like I said,
Go ahead.
If you have NRA carry guard, then you're much more protected. You got to have NRA carry guard because they will have lawyers. They will have lawyers all.
Yeah,
over
I know.
the
And look,
place.
I'm familiar with NRA carry guard, and I think it's okay. I don't think it's the best product out there. I use a different one, but as long as you've got something that helps you on the legal side after you get into a situation, I agree with you on that. But that does, I guess, and we may be saying the same thing, Ben. Well, that doesn't give you cover to say, well, then because I have legal protection, I can then therefore take action I wouldn't take otherwise. I guess maybe that's what I'm trying to say.
Save somebody else's life. Is that what you're saying?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Save somebody else's life because it might put yours in jeopardy. Is that what you're saying? Listen, I've
never said that in my life.
I spent 24 years in the Marine Corps.
I mean, look, that's great, but that has, you know what? That absolutely has nothing. I'm sorry, Ben, that has nothing to do with our conversation right now. And you're trying to put words into my mouth and say that, I would say I wouldn't get involved in some other situation because of some kind of legal concern. No, that's crazy. And never in my life have I said that. Now, at the same time, there are situations where I'm not going to go insert myself into them. If two people are just having an argument, I'm not going to get involved in that.
Name one.
I am. If two people are having an argument in a parking lot, I am not going to walk over and insert myself with my firearm in the middle of that. Are you?
Well, I would not. I would never.
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
But
if somebody's beating on a little old lady, if somebody's got a little old lady and they're pounding her on the sidewalk, if somebody's beating up a little old lady on the sidewalk, I am going to get involved.
Yeah.
Okay?
You're right. You're right.
All right. You know what? We're on the same page, but you're trying to pick a fight that I'm not willing to go to right now. I appreciate your call. I thank you for your service, and I wish you luck. Stay safe out there. 866-TALK-GUN. That's our number. We'll see you in a sec.
Why do hunters and shooters love the Ruger American Rifle? With right-handed and left-handed versions, all-weather, Magnum, Compact, Predator, Ranch, and Scope package options, there's a Ruger American for everyone. Lightweight with an adjustable trigger and minute of angle accuracy, Ruger American rifles pack in the features. Is the Ruger American the best rifle on the market? See for yourself at your local retailer or at Ruger.com. That's Ruger.com.
Attacks happen every day. How will you react? See real people put into real-life criminal attack situations on First Person Defender. Discover what works and what doesn't. Kidnapping, ATM robbery, home invasion, and other attacks. Learn how to save your life and the lives of your family. Get the entire first season on DVD at shopguntalk.com. Get prepared. Shopguntalk.com.
Since 1937, Ducks Unlimited has led the charge on wetlands and waterfowl conservation. Wetlands reduce the effects of flooding and recharge our drinking water, but perhaps most importantly, they allow us to experience what makes the outdoors so great. Band together to rescue our wetlands.
Stand for the Second Amendment with Franklin Armory. Their 3-position BFS Gen 3 trigger is one of the hottest products for your AR, HK, ACR, CZ, and B&T in curved and straight variations. In position 3, fire 1 round on pull and 1 round on release. Ideal for both tactical and competition use. Get a 10% discount on everything with the code word GUNTALK at franklinarmory.com.
Laser sights enhance shooting fundamentals, sight alignment, and trigger control. Training with laser sights increases muzzle awareness, improves and corrects sight alignment at sight picture, and aids in acquiring and maintaining sight picture in low light conditions. Call 800-442-2406 or visit crimsontrace.com for a free copy of our laser training video, The Laser's Edge, and learn why Crimson Trace is making laser sights standard equipment.
Interesting. I still maintain that going to your gun as your first course of action is not advisable if you have options. Note the if you have options. Sometimes that's all you got. It's going down right now, and it's going to take however long it takes you to get your gun into play to stop the action. Okay, that's what it is. But my position is it would be wise to have some other tools in your toolbox. What would those be? There'd be the ability to disengage if you just got a loudmouth drunk. It'd be the ability to call the cavalry if there's time. Hey, there's something that looks weird here. It's going down. There's something going on in the parking lot. Now, if someone, and it's your call, it's a personal deal. But if someone's getting seriously hurt and you feel the need to intervene, then do what you got to do. Being aware that it is dangerous because you don't control the situation. The police may already have been called. And when they show up, they see you with a gun. Oh, there's a guy with a gun. What do you think they're going to do? It's a risk that I am willing to take in certain circumstances, but not in all. And while I appreciate military service, I am here to tell you that it is not the same. Sorry, it just isn't. 866-TALK-GUN. Jeff's with us out of Charleston, South Carolina, on line 4. Jeff, thanks for holding. How you doing?
Good afternoon, Tom. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
I got an issue with verbiage that most of America uses in the phrase of first person or first responders. And
where first responders,
where one of my best friends is technically a first responder, and I love them to death and would never want their job, but I would rather call them professional responders since they're not normally the first ones there. You and I are.
They're most certainly not the first person to respond because whoever has suffered the attack probably responded in some form or fashion. I always say, Jeff, that I'm a first responder. And
me too.
You're a first responder. And the person who is being attacked should be the first responder, or somebody else should be. The first responder is not the person you have to call on a phone to come.
No.
I'm in complete agreement with you.
It works the same way with your fire extinguisher. It works the same way with your med kit. To help people on the roadside. It's a heart issue that America has lost to stop and help and be a first responder.
Well, there's something else going on here. Let me bounce this off of you. There is a very real movement, a thought process that it's called statism, which is the state, the government is the answer to all the problems, and that goes up to and including taking care of safety and putting out fires. It's like people would say, well, you shouldn't have a gun to to protect yourself. That's what the police are for. And of course, you and I would probably say the same thing. Well, do you have a fire extinguisher? Because that's, we're going to take care of the problem until the fire department arrives. What I have found is that when I say, do you have a fire extinguisher? About half the people I ask, they say, well, no. We've got a fire department. I'm thinking, there's no help for this.
Right. It's just.
But I
agree.
I agree with you. Mm-hmm.
And the only way to change it is to change the verbiage back to what it actually is accurately. I think Carter was the one that first started calling them first responders, and it's just taken off.
Well, he gave us so many other lovely things, like 22% interest rates also.
Well, yeah,
and gas lines and, everything else. So, pretty much the worst president in the history of the United States of America, Jimmy Carter.
Yes.
So, there you go.
Absolutely.
Look, I appreciate it, sir. I got to keep rolling here. I'm going to go real quickly here. Line 2, Joe is in Marshall, Texas. Hey, Joe, you're up.
Hey, you mentioned something a while ago about first aid kits, and it made me think about something the other day through a gun site and looking at some of the stuff that was offered, some gun-related website. And they had first aid kits, but in their first aid kit, there was no tourniquet. And I thought, wow, as you know, and as you've addressed before, of all the things you can have in a first aid kit or a medical bag, a tourniquet's the only thing that can save somebody's life. Well, with the exception of perhaps some airway devices.
Right.
But those two things, and it's amazing how many, quote, first aid kits don't. Now, yeah, you got Band-Aids and bandages and alcohol swabs, but none of that's going to save a person's life. And if you're a guy that goes to the gun range and shoots some, you ought to carry your first aid or medical bag with you. It ought to be within 6 feet of you all the time.
Well, I will admit, I am guilty. I don't carry a tourniquet, and I should, but the reason I don't is I have not yet taken a class on using it, and I need to do that quickly. I know a lot of my friends, I mean a lot of friends, who carry a tourniquet everywhere they go, either on an ankle pouch or on a belt pouch, or some of them, okay, this is interesting, actually wrap it, there's a way that you can wrap it around your waist like a belt. And so they always have a tourniquet everywhere they go.
Well, now I'll tell you this. I don't necessarily carry it everywhere I go, but I can guarantee you when I'm on the range practicing, my medical bag is very close.
And I want to pick up on something you said. I want people to understand that. It is the one piece of gear that you can absolutely save a life with. And it doesn't have to be a shooting incident. It can be a car wreck. It could be somebody who is out there trying to chop wood with a hatchet, doesn't know what he's doing. I mean, just on and on and on. If you can stop the bleeding, you can save the life. And that's one of the reasons we've been able to save so many lives in the military, in combat, is they now know how to stop the bleeding. If they can stop the bleeding, they can get them to help. Thank you for the call. I really appreciate it. That's excellent. Yeah, it's clotting gauze is certainly you can have something around. Yeah, Jim says, lawnmower accident. Yeah, trimming the hedges with your lawnmower, holding it up. Yeah, never mind. But yeah, tourniquet, need to learn how to use it. I am remiss at that. I got to do that. And you got to have one with you. Actually, you got to have several with you. That's the deal. You could save a life with a tourniquet. Yeah, you can save a life with your gun, but you're probably more likely to need the tourniquet, truth be known. 866-TALK-GUN. Interesting. Just got an email from a listener. He says, let's see, he's a concealed carry guy with 46 years of banking experience. We're talking about banks, credit card companies cutting off financial services to gun stores and people in the firearms business. He says, ask all of your listeners to contact the Federal Reserve Bank on their website. Go to the complaint section, get their form, and fill in the complaint. Also write or email gun rights senator or representative, then write President Trump. Interesting idea. I would love to see congressional hearings on this where they pull in the heads of some of these financial institutions, credit card processing companies, banks that are shutting down firearms-related companies, or shutting down the financial services to them, closing their bank accounts. In the case of Intuit, the QuickBooks, Quicken folks, actually shutting down the credit card processing, taking the money that was paid to stores or to Gunsight, the shooting academy, and returning the money to the person or the people who already got the goods and the services, money that was owed, money that was paid to Gunsight and to other people, and taking their money, Gunsight's money, and returning it to the payer. I don't know. I would call that felony theft. That was probably would be where I would start. Then I'd work my way up from there. But it's just kind of my thoughts on the deal. But I like the idea of let's start getting something going here. I think we have to call enough attention to this to where we need, it's that old deal of you shine enough light on something, it tends to sterilize it. When they feel the heat, they see the light. They're being able to do this because nobody's calling them on it. Nobody's stopping them. But, all these financial institutions are regulated. And they may say, well, we get to do business with anybody you want. Yeah, but if they were doing that with an identified group, pick one. Let's see. Any defined group, blacks, Hispanics, women, gays, pick any group. And they said, we're not going to do business with these people. They couldn't get away with that. How do you get away with saying, because you're in a particular business that, it's highly regulated. It is protected by the Constitution. It is safe. It is legal. But because you don't like it, you're going to shut down these industries. And the thing that you got to understand is this is not just we don't like you, so we're not going to do business with you. That's not what's going on here. This is we will destroy an industry by choking off the supply of money to it. That's what's going on here. I would love to get freedom of information request. I don't know if you can get them from private entities to say, were you contacted by any of the gun control groups? Have you had conversations with any of the gun control groups about this? Have you had conversations with Bloomberg's groups or Bloomberg himself on all of this? Who's actually behind this, what I think is a highly orchestrated effort to destroy the firearms industry and to destroy gun stores? That would be, wouldn't you love to see Trey Gowdy questioning them on that? Holy cow, that'd be fabulous. All right, so by the way, if you have a spouse, or not a spouse, a girlfriend who is outing you, dump her like a bad habit. Simple as that. I'm not saying don't find somebody who you could teach to shoot. That's a whole different deal. People are kind of saying, I taught a lot of people to shoot. I get that. I understand that, okay? But if somebody's passively aggressive and they're calling you out and telling people that you're carrying, that's a person you don't want to hang around with because it's dangerous. Take care of yourself. Be safe. We'll see you next week.